Part 139. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1381. This guy, it's pretty good to think. Until now, can't see the situation clearly. Still thinking about those beautiful things. Do you still have a number in your mind? Become my war slave, be enslaved by me for the rest of your life. In order to atone for your sins, you can have a truce. Fang Fan raised his mouth slightly and said indifferently. The expression on the face of Futujian, the president of the God-destroying society, gradually solidified. Become a war slave? Slavery for life? Atonement. This. What's the difference between that and taking his life? Don't go too far, Your Excellency. There are still 2 quasi-sages in my destroyer society. I don't know how many other quasi-sages are strong. If there is a conflict, I'm afraid the form is not easy to control. At that time, even if you are as powerful as Your Excellency, you will definitely suffer great losses. If I do my best to kill one of your top quasi-sages, it won't be a big deal. It's really going to come to the moment when the fish die and the net breaks. I don't think Your Excellency is willing. I think it's better for Your Excellency to cooperate with our God Destroyer Association. In this way, after killing the Desolate clan, all the Desolate God fruit will belong to Your Excellency. How about this? I have shown my sincerity, and I hope Your Excellency will also weigh in. While speaking, the head of the God-destroying society, Futujian, gradually revealed a warning look in his eyes. Threat and peace coexist. The strategy is quite good. It's a pity, a good strategy also needs to be matched with a certain force. The foundation is too bad. No matter how good the strategy is, it is only a moon in the mirror. So, you don't want to be my war slave? You want to die? Fang Fan took a step forward, killing intent flashing in his eyes. You stinky little brat! How dare you threaten me with the God-destroying society? Let's see how I kill you. A cold shout came, and I saw a middle-aged cultivator from the God-extinguishing society rushing out from the crowd, and the momentum of the rush was extremely violent. His goal is naturally to kill Fang Fan. And, this is an absolute quasi-sage. The ultimate quasi-sacred powerhouse from the Destroyer Society. Futujian, the president of the Destroying God Association, saw his own supreme quasi-sage powerhouse rushing out, first in shock, then with a look of surprise on his face. If they can kill Fang Fan and let this group fall apart since then they will still be able to obtain the greatest benefits. He is not willing to give up the wild god fruit in the wild clan. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, and there was a glint in his eyes. At this moment, a ferocious attack has come. This is a crazy attack originating from the Supreme Quasi-Sage. The speed of the attack is getting faster and faster, the momentum of the attack is getting stronger and stronger. The smiles on the face of the quasi-sacred powerhouse who launched the raid, the Destroyer God Society, became more and more numerous, because he was getting closer and closer to Fang Fan. This distance, he can reach in an instant, and can kill Fang Fan in an instant, and then complete this wave of smooth beheading. Only after getting closer to Fang Fan, the quasi-sage practitioner of the Extinguishing God Association found that Fang Fan's face was not a look of panic, but a smile. Swoosh swish. A cloud of black mist is coming. The dark fog is thick, mixed with a terrifying aura of extinction. Dark sacrifice. Dark matter. Energy burst. Wei Jia held a black staff, and quickly recited a spell in his mouth. Boom. Black fog, explosion. The core of the explosion was the quasi-sacred powerhouse of the God-destroying society who had attacked insanely. The black mist mixed with bright red blood shot out, and bright black and red marks appeared in the sky. Everything, freeze. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1382. With the blood clots flying in the air, the quasi-sacred powerhouse of the Extinguishing God Society was terminated without even making a roar. Extinguishing God will be the ultimate quasi-sage powerhouse, die. The scene fell silent. Everyone's eyes focused on this, and they fell into a state of shock. This is a spike. A supreme quasi-sage powerhouse was killed in seconds with such ease. The head of the God-destroying society, Futugian, trembled, his lips trembled unnaturally, his hands folded in front of him, and his gnashing of teeth was particularly obvious. Fear grows wildly in my heart. No. It won't, did I read it wrong? Instantly kill the quasi-sage, this is the supreme ability only possessed by the strong in the sanctuary. Among this group of people, is there a sanctuary powerhouse? Goddess Extinguishing Association President Futugian swallowed a mouthful of saliva, feeling his heart collide inexplicably. Nervous, apprehensive, anxious. All kinds of negative emotions erupted wildly, making him instantly feel a splitting headache. In the distance, the nervous look on Huang Gan's face gradually dissipated, and he breathed a sigh of relief. Your Majesty the Wild God, naturally, there is no chance of any accidents. I'm too worried. The corners of Huang Gan's mouth, the patriarch of the desolate clan, rose slightly, and he sighed inwardly, feeling somewhat relaxed at this moment. This feeling seems very real. As one of the three major forces, the Brahma clan's patriarch, Brahma, was completely shocked at the moment. The scene where the quasi-sage at the top of the Destroyer Club was killed by a single move was still vivid in his mind, and he dared not forget it. Since this young man in front of me has the ability to kill the quasi-sage of the God of Extermination Society, he wants to kill me in an instant, it's not a problem to think about it. I'm trying to get into a game. This has completely collapsed. Continue like this, it is worthless and meaningful, and even will make our Brahma clan go to annihilation. No. Brahma clan cannot exterminate the clan. It must not exterminate the clan in my hands. The thoughts of Brahma passed through his mind rapidly, his hands were tightly clasped together, and his face showed an excited expression. This idea comes from within. He had to come up with a solution. Now it seems, as if I can only choose that way. You can't beat it. As for escape, the foundation of the Brahma clan is here, where can they escape? Then, the only thing I can do is surrender. Brahma's lips quivered, and there was a look of struggle in his eyes, just struggling to and fro. This seems to be the best situation. His choice has been completely frozen at this moment. He had no choice but to do it. Feeling aggrieved, helpless, resentful, even panicky. I am willing to surrender. My Brahma clan is willing to submit to your excellency. Become your vassal group. Please treat my Brahma clan kindly. My Brahma clan made a huge mistake, please punish me. After Brahma Si figured out the joints, he no longer hesitated, and flew out directly. The speed seemed extremely fast. Seeing the death of Brahma clan patriarch Brahma, who was kneeling in front of him, Fang Fan was somewhat surprised. Didn't expect, figured it out so quickly. Don't say anything else, just seeing this vision, that's very strong. Fang Fan squinted his eyes and thought to himself, those who are not of our race will have different hearts, although it is not absolute, but the heart of preventing others is indispensable, it must be restrained. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1383. Fang Fan pondered secretly, his eyes flashing like electricity. At this moment, the thoughts in my heart are increasing wildly. Aragama's contract, the cooling off period, hasn't come yet. Now I can only find the Holy War Slave card. Fang Fan searched back and forth, but never found this kind of card. The only quasi-Holy War Slave card before has been used on the Beisha ancestor of Earth Shizong. Go to the auction system to see. With the thought, Fang Fan came directly to the auction system. First go to the exclusive auction to scan the circle. The lowest level are all saint level cards, hundreds of thousands of star cores at every turn, temporarily not Fang Fan can afford. Fang Fan has completely turned into a pauper since he promoted all the 10 major legions under his command. The exclusive auction area is too tall. Then the ordinary auction area. War Slave card, War Slave card. 10 quasi-holy War Slave cards and a low-level Saint War Slave card are packaged and auctioned. Quasi-Saint level War Slaves card, after using it, you can directly make a quasi-Saint powerhouse your War Slave. Note, those who become War Slaves must surrender their will. Low-level War Slave card, after use, you can directly make a strong person below the 5-star Sanctuary level become your War Slave. Note, those who become War Slaves must surrender their will. 10 quasi-holy level War Slave cards and a holy level War Slave card, the auction price is 10,000 star cores. Each time the price increase must not be less than 1,000 star cores. One price is 50,000 star cores. Package auction. And it is really lucky to be able to see holy level cards in the ordinary auction area. Fang Fan frowned secretly. To be honest, 50,000 star cores are really not expensive to buy one saint level War Slave card and 10 quasi-holy rank War Slave cards. 50,000 star cores, I can't get it out. Fang Fan's mouth twitched, a penny beats a hero. You, hand over all the divine crystal star cores to me first. Fang Fan's face turned black, and he said directly to the few quasi-saint level powerhouses in front of him. Everyone, you look at me, I look at you, each is surprised. The death of Brahma, the patriarch of the Brahma clan, who is kneeling on the ground at this moment, is the most embarrassing. I'm here to surrender, it's fine if you don't respond. Saying this, what are you trying to do? To embarrass me on purpose? What the hell have I done? I am wronged, okay. Your Excellency, this is all the assets of my Brahma clan, converted into star cores of about 60,000 star cores. The Brahma clan's patriarch, Brahma, said quickly, with an extremely respectful attitude. Fang Fan secretly raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect that this wealth is really expensive. 60,000 star cores is not a small number. It seems that there is quite a lot of oil and water hiding in this whaling canyon. My lord, this is the storage ring on the head of the meteorite clan who was beheaded before. The divine crystal inside is almost 70,000 when converted into star cores. Huang Shi respectfully handed over a storage ring with a calm look in his eyes. Fang Fan nodded secretly, murdering and setting fire to the golden belt, that's the truth. Fang Fan smiled to himself, his eyes swept around the leaders of the surrounding forces. No matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat. Since it's meat, you can't miss it. What's more, the meat looks quite junky. The Baron clan is desolate, offer 100,000 star cores. Huang Gan, the patriarch of the desolate clan, staggered over, and although he was seriously injured, he still persisted. Desolate warriors, never give up. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1384. The Patriarch of the Wasteland does not need to offer the star core. I'm a friend of the desolate clan. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows and followed. What he is targeting is the major forces besieging the Baron clan. Lord, everything in the Waste family belongs to the Lord. Huang Gan originally wanted to directly call Fang Fan the crown of the god of wilderness, but in the end he changed his way. Just now he heard his son call Fang Fan the Lord, and there must be some unspeakable reason. The Lord is unwilling to accept it, is it? Are you going to abandon the barren clan? The patriarch of the desolate clan, Huang Gan, trembled with his arms, and there was a look of fear in his eyes. Fang Fan sighed with emotion. He never doubted the loyalty of the desert warriors. Of course not. If that's the case, I'll take it. These quasi-saint level healing cards, emperor level healing cards, and king level healing cards are allocated to the warriors of the Baron tribe, so that they can recover their combat power sooner. Fang Fan thought for a while, then took out stacks of healing cards of various levels. Huang Gan, the patriarch of the desolate clan, opened his mouth with a surprised look in his eyes. Father, these are all god cards. Use one, and you can fully recover from your injuries. You quickly thanked the Lord. Seeing his father's stunned look, Huang Shi quickly reminded him. Yes. Thank you Huang, thank you Lord. Huang Gan, the patriarch of the desolate clan, said, and then quickly thanked him. Fang Fan nodded secretly, and then glanced around the Buddha sword, the president of the God Extinguishing Society, full of threats. Hand over the star core, otherwise, I will kill you first, destroy the God Extinguishing Society, and then snatch the star core and divine crystal from you. Fang Fan strode forward, and he still had to show the momentum he should have. Futujian, the president of the God Extinguishing Society, blushed and wanted to say something, but he was stuck in his throat and didn't dare to say it. If you donate it now, you can still live for a while, otherwise, it may be obliterated in an instant. In general, he has no choice at all. This is the 80,000 star cores of my God Extinguishing Society, please, Your Excellency please accept it with a smile. Futujian, the president of the God-Destroying Society, forced a smile, but this smile looked a bit uglier than crying. Your Excellency, I have already handed over the net worth of my God-Destroying Society. Can I leave the God-Destroying Society? We really have no value, and we are not willing to continue to fight against Your Excellency. As the God-Destroying Guild President Futujian spoke, the flattering expression on his face became more and more flattering. From his point of view, these things seem too crucial. It's not you who has the final say, whether you are worth or not, but I have the final say. Stay there and don't move. Fang Fan grinned, his expression very indifferent. My lord, except for the three major forces, all the big and small forces have collected a total of 30,000 star cores. Galen walked over with dozens of storage rings and told Fang Fan. Ah, very good. Fang Fan nodded secretly, this wave of harvest is perfect. Desolate people, 100,000 star cores. God Extinguishing Society, 80,000 star nuclei. Meteorite family, 70,000 star cores. Brahma clan, 60,000 star cores. Various small forces, 30,000 star cores. It seems that it is enough. A total of 340,000 star cores were obtained. Buy 10 quasi-holy war slave cards and a holy war slave card in a package at one price. Without any hesitation, Fang Fan directly chose the purchase option. This wave is perfect. Ding. Buy the city at one price. 10 quasi-holy war slave cards and 1 holy war slave card have arrived. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1385. The system sound came from his ear, Fang Fan nodded secretly. With these slave cards, the current form is much easier to handle. Brahma passed away. Brahma clan patriarch. A quasi-sacred realm. Fang Fan looked at Brahma who was crawling in front of him, and said immediately. Yes, Your Excellency, no. Your Honor. Brahma passed away and took a deep breath, a look of panic flashed in his eyes. Well, are you willing to surrender to me? Fang Fan continued, his eyes became more and more composed. Will, I will. Brahma passed away with a sigh, the matter has come to this point, it can only be so. Very good. Then from now on, you are my war slave. Fang Fan said, and then his face was taken for granted. War slave. Your Highness, can I? Brahma gritted his teeth and said quickly from the side, his posture seemed very calm. Oh. Do you want to choose death, or become my war slave? Fang Fan shrugged and directly presented two options. Brahma clan patriarch Brahma opened his mouth, his face speechless. How does this make him choose? Either way, it's a dead end. He doesn't want to. It's just this kind of thing, can he say it? Fan Tianchi looked at Fang Fan's indifferent expression, and was stunned for a moment. Soon, he came back to his senses, and he knew very well that at this moment he had basically lost the right to choose. Die. Of course he doesn't want to. The Brahma clan can't die either. Becoming a war slave, although humiliating, there may be a chance of survival. I want to. Brahma passed away with his head lowered, feeling that all the arrogance in his body was broken. As one of the few remaining quasi-sages in Wailing Canyon, he naturally has his rebelliousness, but now this rebelliousness has been shattered to the extreme, and at this moment, he can only choose to bow his head. Helpless, there is. Suffocated, there is. Use the quasi-holy war slave card. Fang Fan smiled slightly, and immediately placed the card in his hand on the head of Brahma's passing away. Ding. Successfully used the quasi-holy war slave card, and successfully subdued a top quasi-holy war slave. The system sound came, Fang Fan nodded secretly, everything has become a foregone conclusion. The form also never seemed too turbulent. Lord. Brahma died silently and walked behind Fang Fan, this attitude already showed that he was completely surrendered. The War Slaves Corps has once again added a top quasi-sage. The current leader of the Zhan Slave Legion, Bai Shat, was full of excitement. Originally, the Zhan Slave Legion was such a bare commander, which was too embarrassing. I didn't expect that after such a short time, there will be one more subordinate, or is it a quasi-sanctuary? At first, the ancestor Bai Sha felt that it was an extremely humiliating thing to become Fang Fan's war slave. After all, he was a powerful high-level quasi-sage powerhouse. But now, after seeing Brahma's passing, and comparing the two, the sense of superiority rises. Even a quasi-sage like Brahma Dai can join the war slaves' army, why can't he? What's more, he is still the commander of the War Slaves Legion, and his status are extraordinary. Seeing that the Brahma clan's patriarch, Brahma, chose to surrender completely, the audience was shocked. I didn't expect that the deceased patriarch of Brahma, who had been in the Wailing Canyon for hundreds of thousands of years, would be willing to become that young man's war slave. This is too exaggerated. The situation is very bad, who knows what it will turn into. Hey, bad, too bad. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1386. The deceased patriarch of Brahma has given up resistance, then what's the point of us continuing to resist? We have the strength of the deceased patriarch of Brahma. This time I shouldn't have attacked the Baron clan. Even if I attack the Baron clan, the desolate god fruit will not have my share, I just want to come here. Damn, Didn't I listen to the bullshit of the leaders of the major forces? What did you say that the desolate clan was destroyed, and the treasures were divided equally? Now that the treasures have not been seen, we have to cool down first. Grass. I know so well, we don't have our share of meat, but something like this will definitely take us with you. The fire at the city gate has affected Chayu. Don't be too sad. Now, what can I do? I can only let it go. SHH, there is still the God-destroying guild's president of the Buddha sword who never surrendered. Maybe he can hold up the beam. Do you think it's possible? Isn't this nonsense at all? It's simply impossible. Okay. Don't kill yourself. Hey, the three major forces were suppressed when they were at their peak, and now there is only one force left, hee. The Buddha sword is very embarrassing at the moment. All allies have run away, and Brahma has also become Fang Fan's war slave. At this moment, he is such an absolute quasi-sage on his side. This is a chicken feather? Before you fight, you will cool down first. But kneeling down and surrendering, becoming a war slave, it's too embarrassing. The head of the God-destroying society, Futujian, glanced around the surroundings, only to see Fang Fan indifferently despising the front. Huh, become a war slave? It doesn't exist. I am also a quasi-sacred quasi-sage, with good combat power, and there is a powerful god of destruction behind me as a backer. Although I can't beat that monster's team, but, it's more than enough to be his vassal. After he speaks, I will take the opportunity to make a condition to become a vassal. Hey, in this case, all the problems will be solved. This will neither lose face, nor cause any bad consequences. It can also protect the interests of the Destroyer Society. Why not do it? The head of the God-destroying society, Futujian, thought. The smile on his face became more and more. All troops attack. Strangle the god of extermination. Kill without mercy. Fang Fan gave an order, and the 6 heroes of the 10 major legions under his command were dispatched together. The battle is going crazy. Da. Under the command of Bayless, the low heavy machine gunners began to shoot frantically. A wave of attacks started in an instant. President, what to do? They are coming at us. We can't stop it. They have 6 supreme quasi-sages, no. 8. Plus the desolate clan chief Huanggan and the Brahma clan chief Brahma passed away. Huh, those devil legions are also very strong. We are not opponents at all. The previous joint attacks of the 3 major forces have all failed, let alone our family now. This is almost a mortal situation. President, you make a decision quickly. Leave some seeds for our Destroyer Society. Hey, can we just sink in like this? None of us want to die. We all want to live. President. It's the most critical time. You can't lose the chain. Master President. The surrounding shouts came, and the Buddha sword suddenly felt a little dazed, and the forehead was covered in cold sweat. Saying that he is letting him make up his mind is actually forcing the palace. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shuyu. Chapter 1387. What the hell could he think? Dead. Or just live a life? He didn't want to die either. It would be too embarrassing to choose to surrender and become a war slave. That's too embarrassing. Taken together, none of these options are appropriate. Of course, he no longer has the right to choose. Basically, he is in a cool state. Relatively speaking, this is the situation. And, this mysterious young man never gave him a chance to choose. Not even asking a single question, come up and fight to the death. Seeing that the power of the God-destroying society was wiped out little by little, the Buddha sword, the president of the God-destroying society, was also very anxious. Cast it? Instead of being beaten to pieces and then choosing to surrender, it's better to save yourself a little face. At least, there is still some hope. Futujian, the president of the Destroying God Association, silently closed his eyes, and his eyes flashed with a dejected color. It's time to come, it's finally here. How powerful was the scene when the three major forces besieged the Baron clan. And now, the death of the dead, the descending of the descending. And he, will also step into such a path. Thinking about it like this, it's so sad. But at this time, I can't take care of it too much. Your Highness, please stop attacking. All members of our God-destroying society are willing to surrender. The white flag was raised, and the voice of the Buddha sword was slightly trembling. It's hard to support it alone, he can't hold it. Saying 1,000 words and 10,000, that's all false. Right now, he can only feel the sense of sadness and helplessness. Fang Fan took off high in the sky, the corners of his mouth rose silently. Immediately waved his hand, indicating that the legions and heroes can stop fighting. The final battle is over. Your Highness, can I not become a war slave? I am willing to be your vassal, I promise not to rebel, I am willing to sign the contract of God. The Goddess Extinguishing Society's president, Buddha Sword, walked over tremblingly, and his eyes flashed one after another. He is still making his last efforts, what if he succeeds? Kill it? Fang Fan didn't say a word of nonsense, just waved his hand, extremely indifferent. The body of Futujian, the president of the God-destroying society, trembled. I'm also a quasi-sage after all, can you give me some respect? I also want to enjoy being respected, okay. The Buddha sword slowly raised his head, and he panicked when he saw the silver-armored warrior walking over with a long sword in his hand. I would like to be a war slave. It's my honor to be the honorable war slave. Please accept me in honor. I am willing to die for your honor. 9 deaths without regrets. The head of the God-destroying society, Futujian, slammed his head on the ground, making a series of bangs, and his posture was quite sturdy. If I knew this earlier, why do you have to talk nonsense? Fang Fan pouted and said, and then took out a quasi-holy level war slave card. Use. Ding. Successfully used the quasi-holy war slave card, and successfully subdued a top quasi-holy war slave. It's all a foregone conclusion. After the final count, the number of practitioners who surrendered to the God-extinguishing society, the Brahma clan, the Meteorite clan, and other forces of all sizes was as high as 100,000. Among them, the top 2 quasi-sages. They were the death of Brahma, the patriarch of the Brahma clan, and the Buddha sword, the president of the God-destroying society. There are 47 low-level quasi-sages, middle-level quasi-sages, and high-level quasi-sages. There are tens of thousands of practitioners in the Emperor realm. The rest are cultivators in the realm of kings and real kings. All incorporated, War Slaves Legion. Ancestor Baisha is the leader of the War Slaves Legion. The death of Brahma and the deputy commander of the Buddha sword mighty War Slaves Legion. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shuyu. Chapter 1388. Fang Fan simply made the appointment, and then glanced around the body of the Brahma clan's patriarch, Brahma, and the God-destroying guild's president, Buddha sword. Restrain the people under your hand, otherwise you should know that I can destroy your spirits and souls at any time. The corners of Fang Fan's mouth raised slightly, his eyes were like electricity, and he was full of warning. The warning should be warned. Although it is said that the death of Brahma and the Buddha sword are both restrained by the quasi-holy war slave card, but I am not afraid of 10,000, just in case. In case of being tricky, Fang Fan will suffer. The initial lineup of the War Slave Legion was pulled up, dividing the War Slaves Legion into elite members and ordinary members. The only constant requirement for elite members must be a quasi-sanctuary. Ordinary members, don't make demands. Fang Fan smiled to himself, looking around like this, there are already 50 elite members of the War Slaves Legion. The War Slaves Legion with 50 quasi-sage powerhouses has become the strongest legion under Fang Fan to some extent. Of course, they are only war slaves after all. Unless great credit is made, this brand will remain on them forever. According to Fang Fan's previous will, all these things in front of him will be obliterated. Obliterate them all and get an approved saint level card and other cards of various levels, isn't it delicious? But now Fang Fan has more thoughts. For example, if there is another war in the future, there is a war slave army, which can save a lot of personal casualties. The predecessor of the War Slave Legion was the Cannon Fodder Legion, which means, recruiting cannon fodder to reduce the casualties of the regular army. Follow the Lord. The subordinates must make arrangements according to your will. Ancestor Baisha lowered his head with a flattering look on his face. Today is his lucky day. The smile on Baisha's ancestor's face couldn't be stopped since the war slave army recruited. So cool. Now he also enjoys the feeling of being a boss. He is the commander of the War Slaves Legion, and the 2 deputy commanders under his command are all in the quasi-sacred realm. In addition, dozens of quasi-sanctuary powerhouses obeyed orders, and 100,000 elites could only surrender in front of him. Thinking of this, the ancestor Baisha wanted to exclaim. It turns out that becoming a war slave, becoming a cannon fodder, is also a sense of accomplishment. Ancestor Baisha glanced silently at Fang Fan, and then quickly lowered his head. Following such a promising master, it seems, not bad. According to the speed of the Lord's expansion, it may not be long before the war slave army under my command will have 1,000,000 troops. By then, the quasi-sages will appear frequently. I'm a high-level quasi-sage, commanding the supreme quasi-sage to fight. I'm excited when I think of this. Hey, in the future, maybe there will be strong sanctuaries joining in. Ancestor Baisha clenched his fist silently, and his eyes flashed with light. This kind of excitement is difficult to express in words. All in all, he is very excited, and excited. These feelings are rushing in my mind, and I can't stop it. Even if you are a cannon fodder, if you can become the most powerful cannon fodder, that will be very strong. Ancestor Baisha thought to himself, and a foolish smile gradually appeared on his face. At this moment, the patriarch of the Baron clan, the Baron General, distributed the healing cards given by Fang Fan according to the registration. And he also took out a quasi-holy healing card and started using it. The divine card bestowed by the great desolate god has a heavy feeling to the touch. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1389. Use. Huang Gan, the patriarch of the Desolate clan, snorted lightly, and then placed this milky white card in front of him. Swoosh swish. In the quasi-holy level healing card, streaks of pure white light burst forth. Comfortable, very comfortable. Huang Gan hummed softly, a look of excitement on his face. As he spoke, his eyes gradually softened. After a few seconds, all the injuries on his body have completely healed. How is this possible? Huang Gan, the patriarch of the Desolate clan, opened his mouth, feeling the intact body, and the whole person was completely stunned. This state, it's amazing. Everything seems to have changed, and the feeling seems very real. Your Majesty the Desolate God, this is the divine power of the Desolate God that is healing my body. Thank you, Your Majesty the Great Desolate God. Huang Gan flew directly in front of Fang Fan, and then his head slammed on the ground frantically, tears in his eyes. The barren people have been waiting for the barren god for millions of years, finally come back again. Seeing Huang Gan, the patriarch of the barren clan who was kneeling and bowing in front of him excitedly, Fang Fan sighed slightly. The loyalty of the barren clansmen is too high, too high. Call all the patriarchs of the desolate clan, come over. You have suffered all these years. Fang Fan wriggled his mouth, and then said silently, with infinite sincerity in his eyes. These sincerities also come from the heart. Since he has inherited the god of the wild god, he should bear the cause and effect. These desolate clansmen choose to believe in him, and he naturally has to fully protect him. Gradually, the patriarch of the barren clan in the canyon of crying and laughter stepped forward. The young and middle-aged barren warriors are less than 5,000. Although they could not survive the battle with the three major forces before, there are always casualties. Old, young, women and children, about 20,000. Together with the young and middle-aged barren warriors, there are nearly 30,000 people. The majesty of the wild people. Fang Fan snorted lightly and directly activated the divine skill, the majesty of the arrogant god, so that it would be more credible. The majesty of the arrogant god, consume a certain amount of faith to make oneself possess the breath and majesty of the true god. It lasts for 10 minutes and the cooler is 24 hours. The strong aura of God followed, and tens of thousands of people from the desolate clan were instantly excited. Aragama, it's the breath of Aragama. Your Majesty the desolate god. Your Majesty the desolate god. You really didn't abandon us. His Royal Highness. Please accept the faith of your humblest believer. When the last drop of blood falls, when the fruit of the wild gods falls, His Majesty will return from the sky. He will bring back countless powerful god warriors in bloody battles. The ancient prophecy has come true. Your Majesty the great desolate god. Please don't leave us again. Arrogant god. Ding. Mad believer add 1. Ding. Mad believer plus. Ding. 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 The power of belief is soaring wildly, and the number of 10th level mad believers is also growing wildly. Number of mad believers, 31,321. Among them, 31,285 mad believers of the wild tribe. Fang Fan opened his mouth silently, his eyes became more and more calm. Desolate clansmen, one counts as one, all of them are mad believers. This mighty power of faith. Let Fang admire. Among the mad believers under his command, 99.9% are from the desolate clan. This is the magic of the wild people. Fang took a deep breath, his cognition of the barren clan has not changed from beginning to end. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1390. They are true warriors. Full of infinitely loyal warriors. Starting today. You are my followers. We live and die together. Same fate. As Fang spoke, there were bright lights in his eyes. Full of sincerity. Your Majesty the wild god. Your Majesty the wild god. Your Majesty the wild god. One after another, there seemed to be a will to penetrate everything. Fang mouth slightly raised, his hands pressed down. Because of some accidents, I'm still accumulating strength. Before we are truly strong, we have to choose to be low-key and choose silence. From today onwards, you can call me the Hall Master, or, call me like Huangshi. Fang specifically said that he should not be too mortal to expose his identity as a desolate god in a grand manner. This is because there are not enough strong enemies to provoke. Do you think you are living too well? Lord. Tens of thousands of barren clansmen shouted in unison. Compared with the title of Palace Lord, they still feel that the Lord is more cordial. Fang Fan nodded secretly, an indifferent smile appeared on his face. The desolate clansmen are his foundation. All the desolate clansmen are 10th level mad believers. A 10th level mad believer can bring 100 traces of the power of faith every day. Now there are more than 30,000 barren clansmen under my command. The power of belief that can be provided every day is as high as 3 million. 1 month, close to 100 million. This is just the power of faith that these desolate people have brought me. If you add those pan-believers, shallow believers, and devout believers from the human plane, there will be more. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes and sighed to himself, his expression gradually changing. Whether it is to revive the heaven-slaying sword or wake up Xiao Xiao, it requires a lot of faith and the source of God. So, I have to accumulate both, and accumulate again. After returning to the palace of the emperor this time, the palace of the emperor will be officially promoted to the 7th rank power. The 7th grade power corresponds to the 7th grade temple. The 7th rank forces can build 1 7th rank main temple and 8 7th rank sub-temples. Coupled with the additional sub-temple added by Xiaoxio's god-slaughtering spirit body special effect, that's just a 7th rank sub-temple. A 7th rank main temple can accommodate tens of millions of believers. A 7th rank temple can accommodate 1.25 million believers. Come together, that's more than 20 million believers. The number of believers will explode. The power of faith that can be obtained every day will also be more. And, it's not necessarily limited to the 7th rank forces. If you can continue to be promoted. Fang Fan secretly thought that in this way, the number of faith power will be able to increase dramatically. In the future, the power of faith needed to revive the heaven-slaying sword and awaken Xiao Xiao will be ready. Now the main thing is to see the source of God. Thinking of this, Fang Fan felt a headache inexplicably. The source power of God is much more difficult than the power of faith. This time, I obtained a lot of God's source power in the Chentian mystery realm, but it was basically used up. The God of wildness, Lord, this is the fruit of the God of wilderness bred by our barren clan, and it is finally ripe now. Please accept it. Huang Gan, the patriarch of the desolate clan, strode over and delivered 3 apple-sized fruits. The outer skin of this kind of fruit is sandy and cocky, and it is also dotted with some golden light, which is very eye-catching.